Hello everybody and welcome back to the Leeds Lens for a bit of an impromptu reaction to Daniel Farke's press conference. Basically, there's some things that have been said in Daniel Farke's press conference that I feel like it's an emergency and we need an emergency stream. So we don't usually do press conference reactions. Maybe if you guys like this sort of style, we will do one. Obviously, we will have the preview as well out either tonight or tomorrow morning if I don't manage to get it out today because obviously doing this. But, yeah, there's quite a few things we're going to get into in this because Daniel Farke made some quotes, which I've got to be honest, I am very, very, very concerned about. He talked about the fact that facing Pep Guardiola is not like a chess match, and actually, it's players on the pitch that have got to do the work. I think you're behind the schedule, Daniel. I don't think that's the case anymore. Maybe 30 years ago in football, it's about the players on the pitch and not the manager. I feel like every manager now is a tactical battle. I feel like that's what we do in football now. It's all about tactical plans and tactical approaches and how you can manipulate the other opposition's game plan to get the best out of it. So I heard that and I'm like, I've got to jump on and talk about it and see what you guys think as well because, yeah, some other quotes. We've also got some massive injury updates as well, which we didn't need, especially in the midfield, which we're going to talk about as well. So, yeah, a bit of an impromptu live stream. Apologies for the last minute notice. I probably should have said on yesterday's show that this was going to happen, but truthfully, I didn't know. I was just listening to his press conference and I thought, better jump on and talk to you guys. So, yeah, let's start with the injuries then, and first of all, because I think the injuries are naturally a problem for Leeds United. And basically, Daniel Farke confirmed in his press conference that Sean Longstaff, who obviously has been really important for Leeds United so far this season, I think in the next few games as well, I think we've seen that Sean Longstaff's best performances so far this season in games where we're playing against a better opposition, because naturally he has to get around the pitch and be aggressive, be physical, and that's part of his game. When we see Sean Longstaff fail, in my opinion, is when he's got to be on the ball. So Sean Longstaff missing for these particular games is worst case scenario, in my opinion. He's someone that we definitely need in the midfield, but he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. And the other thing to mention with this is that Stach, another midfield player of ours, our two midfield signings are now both injured. Stach's obviously out with a concussion injury, which we knew about anyway. I talked about yesterday. He's going to miss the game at the weekend as well. So going into the weekend's game, without Stach, without Longstaff, and obviously Ampadu on his 4th yellow card at this moment in time, so if he goes out as well and he gets injured, there's a potential that for Chelsea midweek, there'll be no Stach, no Ampadu, and no Sean Longstaff. So then you're looking at a midfield of what? Gruev, Tanaka, and Aronson. I don't even know who else could we play in the midfield. So we are getting down to the bare bones now. And we talked about this, obviously, earlier in the season. We talked about the fact that, obviously, depth could be an issue for Leeds United. And we also talked about the fact that actually recently it's been going well for Leeds United. And actually, even though the results have been quite poor, actually Leeds United have been really lucky to not have any injuries because injuries naturally pick up. Well, now we're seeing the full-fledged of injuries, as I said. And the worst thing is, it's when injuries can be bad and injuries are going to happen to every team. So it's not too much of a moan. What I think is concerning about the injury situation at the moment is the positions that the injuries are happening. Because again, they're all happening in the middle. And I'm looking at that Chelsea game thinking, if Ampadu gets booked against Man City at the weekend, that Chelsea game you're looking at going, as I said, no Ampadu, no Stach, no Longstaff. That could be a potential nightmare situation for Leeds United. Because as I said, I don't know how you midfield. He also talked a bit about squad rotation as well, and the fact that obviously because we play 3 games in 7 days now, we're not going to see the same lineup that we saw in the game against, we'll see in the game against Man City, as we see in the game against Chelsea, as we see in the game against Liverpool, which I do understand. I think the obvious game to rotate in probably would be that Chelsea game. But again, when we talk about rotation, naturally for rotation, you need to squad fit and able to play. And in the moment in time, the midfield can't change, can it? Because there's no other option. So that is going to be the midfield, I think, for all the games. I think Tanaka's probably going to have to play all 3. But yeah, that is the situation regarding it. Ollie says, just popping in to say hello. Can't stay because I'm in maths. We'll watch on the repeat later. No worries, Ollie. And enjoy your maths lesson, mate. But you better tell you. I've used to got a projector. Get your maths teacher, get it on the projector, and we'll get the whole class watching. No, I'm joking. But yeah, enjoy maths. And yeah, apologies. It's a strange time. We don't usually stream at this time, but as I said, because of what's happened, I just feel like I need to go on and have a look. But yeah, so the rotation, when I'm looking at it, I'm going, well, that surely means that people are going to get opportunities. Like I look at the lineup at this moment in time, we're seeing the same players play week in, week out. We're seeing the likes of Dan James not play, Wilfred Gnonto not play, the obvious two, Calvert-Lewin and Nmecha. Calvert-Lewin sat on the bench at this moment in time. I'm looking at going, in these next few, can we see different players playing the team? And what I really want to see from Daniel Farke, if he's talking about rotation, is if these players, if we rotate and these players play well, let them continue in the team. Don't go back to Sorton. Don't just go back to Brendan Aronson on the right-hand side like we all talk about. If not, if you rest Brendan Aronson, which I think he basically stated that he's going to rest Brendan Aronson, if that does happen, please, please, please stick with it then. Go, Gnonto's had a good game, or James has had a good game. Let's stick with them. And then I'm also, on the reverse side, saying to Gnonto and James, this could be opportunity this week. This could be opportunity to get in the team. So when you get in the team and when you get your chance, you've got to take it and you've got to play well. And I do again think that actually potentially against these better teams, it suits Dan James. Options in behind, pace in behind, stretching opposition exactly, playing against the high line as well, which is what Liverpool, Man City, and of course Chelsea all play with. It should be an opportunity for Dan James to get the best out of himself. So, as I said, when these players get their opportunities, the right-hand side especially, they've got to take the chances. And again, I'm looking at likes of Calvert-Lewin up front. Nmecha's obviously taking the lead at this moment in time. He's probably Daniel Farke's starting striker. But when Calvert-Lewin gets his opportunity, if that's at the weekend or it's midweek, he's got to take it and he's got to play well. This is the player we've paid a lot of money for, not in terms of a transfer fee, but in terms of wages. He's probably the highest player in the squad. Start playing like the highest played player in the squad. Let's get on to recent performances as well, because he talked a bit about that. And this is where I think people will start with the sort of the comments around Daniel Farke. And the one thing I do want to say about Daniel Farke is, look, we can critique Daniel Farke, and what we do on this channel, I think, really well, and what we do in the community really well on this channel is we talk, but we don't just talk, we don't talk personally about Daniel Farke. It's not a personal thing. It's just about his decision making, and that is the line with it. And I think I've seen a lot on social media the last few days, like calling him all sorts of names that I'm not going to get into this channel, and we're not going to start being a name calling channel. That's not what it's about. And I think what's nice about this channel is we can not do it in that way, and we can go, look, we might want him removed from his job, but we want him removed from his job based on this tactical decision, not what he looks like or the fact he wears the same coat every week, like I've seen some people talk about. So that is nice. But one thing I do want to say regarding Farke, and where I think he's getting it wrong at this moment in time, is, again, I'm seeing a lack of accountability, in my personal opinion. I'm seeing a lack of understanding of the current situation. Like, he's talking about the idea that actually in the Brighton, in the Arsenal game, and in the Forest game, we were the worst team, and in every single other game, we were the better team. Well, we all watched the Newcastle game. I didn't think we were particularly the better team in that game. Did people think that we were better team in Newcastle game? I didn't think we were. Maybe we had slightly less XG, but it was a bog standard 0-0. The Spurs game as well, all right, I thought we were potentially edged it, but I don't think we edged it to the point where we probably deserved to win the game. I don't know what you guys think on that. And again, the Aston Villa game, okay, we came out well, we started well, we played well for half an hour, but then I thought in the first half of the second half, actually we saw Villa come into the game. And again, this is where it frustrates me, because he's got to look at the blatantly obvious and go, all right, we might have had more XG, but it's not just about XG, because if you can get XG from a number of ways, as we know. If you shoot 20 times from the edge of the area, you'll create quite a bit of XG naturally because you've done 20 shots. But actually, if they get a big chance it's an open goal and score it, it's probably the same XG, but that's a much better chance. And I think that's something that we've got to bear in mind. And it's not as simple as just, well, they've had more XG. And I feel like when coaches start bringing up the XG, I don't know, it never works for me. And as I said, I look through the games and I just don't think we were the better team in every single game except them three. I really don't see it. I just think he's almost fighting a loose battle at this moment in time, where he's like fighting to sort of, I don't know, save his job or whatever he's trying to fight to do. I think obviously that's part of it. And you end up coming out with these quotes that just make yourself look like you're not understanding the game properly. And I don't think he's that. Like, again, I think people go, oh, he's clueless, etc. He's not clueless. Like, let's be honest here. This guy's he's probably a really intelligent human being. If he sat on a panel, I'm sure, of a pundits panel, I'm sure he'd come across really well and come across really smart, like every single manager does. Because these managers are not daft. But when you're saying this stuff in this press conference, you're making yourself look like something you're not. And as I said, I'm looking at it going, what are we actually talking about here? That we were the better team in them games. I just didn't think we were. But one thing that, as I said, and I mentioned this right at the start, that is really bugging me, and actually was probably the the sort of reason I'm doing this impromptu live stream is because he said something today that I was beyond concerned about as a quote. He basically said that, they said, are you worried about playing against Pep? And he said, are you enjoying the challenge about playing against Pep this weekend and the fact that he's probably the best coach in the world? And he basically said, no, I'm not enjoying it at this moment in time. I don't like the abuse I'm getting. And also, it's not as simple as just the coach does everything and it's a chess match between me and Pep. Well, let's digest them two statements in one. The first statement is obviously about him not enjoying his job at this moment in time and not liking the abuse gain. Fair enough. As I said, I'm not convinced that I'd like getting loads of stick every single game. Admittedly, I'm not paid the money that Daniel Farke's paid, goes without saying. But the other thing to mention with this Daniel Farke situation, and he's not enjoying the thing at this moment in time, is you can do stuff about it. You can make tactical tweaks. Like, you are piling the pressure on yourself by starting the likes of Brendan Aronson on the right-hand side. If you start someone other than other than Brendan Aronson, you might see an upturn in what Leeds fans think of you. But obviously, that's not the only thing. But doing decisions such as that, you are naturally throwing yourself in the firing line by doing decisions that you know is going to frustrate everybody, and you're still not seeing any end product of doing that said decision. So the stuff that he can do with that, and the other thing with it is it comes across as like, almost like feel sorry for me, and I wanted the opposite. I wanted him to puff his chest out and almost tell us what he's about and how he's going to change it. Not just go, oh, well, I'm not really enjoying it at this moment in time because of the abuse I'm getting. Because you also talk in press conferences constantly and say that you don't read the abuse and you don't listen to it, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So which one is it? Is it that you're not enjoying it at this moment in time and you are listening to it and you are reading the negativity? Or is it the opposite, that you don't actually ignore it? Because you're saying two contradicting things there. And then the second point of this about the chess comment, and it's not a chess match between me and Pep Guardiola. I'm afraid, as I said at the start, you're watching football from 20 years ago, pal. You are watching football from 20, 30 years ago. Every single match now is tactics. That has been the new advancement in the football world over the last 20 years. It's all about formations. It's all about build-up strategies. It's all about how to defend certain disciplines and how to change formations to get the best out of an opposition on a tactical basis. The tactics of the game are influential as to how we're played. And the best example you can give is an Argentinian who came to this football club. Marcelo Bielsa came to this football club with Leeds United absolutely in the mud, finishing 10th, 12th, 14th, you name it, every single season. And we bought Barry Douglas, who never really played that season, except for the start, and we bought Patrick Bamford up front, and we saw levels in difference in how players could play. Because guess what, Daniel? It is a tactical game now. It is a chess match on the sideline. It is about in-game scenarios. And there is a reason when we talked this week on this channel about the fact that why in our second halves are we so bad? We have won one second half all season. We've lost the last 5 second halves, and we're losing second halves because your in-game management, because your chess piece playing isn't good enough. So you've got to wake up and understand that in-game management is massively important. And again, this is what frustrates me a bit about the questioning. I tweeted out on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday I think, saying we need to be asking in the press conference this week what is going wrong in Leeds United's second halves when they've lost 14-2 on aggregate in second halves, and they haven't won a second half of 5 games now, and we've only won one second half all season. It was Everton in the first game of the season with a penalty. Let's be honest, some people have argued either way on, if we're being totally honest. And actually in the second half, that, let's be honest, again, Everton actually were better in the second half against us than they were in the first half. Leeds United dominated that game in the first half, but in the second half were much worse. And it takes you all back to this comment about it's not a chess game, and it's something about it would be I would be over talking myself if I have such an influence on this team. You do, mate. You do have a massive influence. Your tactical tweaks are costing Leeds United. And at the weekend, well, as I said, we saw when Unai Emery changed it, went 2 up front, put Marlon on, and Marlon had crossed the ball for Morgan Rogers within 40 seconds of being on the pitch, and changed the game with a tactical tweak. And that is where we've got to see improvement. And that is where we've talked about on this channel. Second half performances are not good enough. We've talked on this channel about in-game management is not good enough, about substitutions are not good enough, and about the fact that this is now a tactical game. It's all about tactics. So when I heard that comment, I don't know, my head just exploded. I need to come on here and have a conversation, because it's just, there's no other word to it than that is concerning that you actually would say that in a press conference. And if you're Pep Guardiola, let's be honest, you're licking your lips. And I think if you're early in Haaland this weekend, I mean, if you're playing FPL this weekend, you probably triple captain Haaland because you know how crap we are away from home. But again, why are we not getting a comment in this press conference? And to be fair, to give the journalists credit, and we have got really good journalists, and it's hard asking questions in a press conference. There is no doubt about it. So I don't want to start scapegoating our journalists at all. But it would be nice to see a question about what is going on in our second half performances to have a record in second halves this season of minus 12 goal difference with 14 goals against us and 2 for us. And losing every single second half except the first game of the season. In a game, as I said, which Everton were better actually in the second half and Leeds were worse in the second half than they were in the first half. So that would have been nice. But that is the situation. So yeah, and the other, what else have we got? I think we're. He also talked about. Yeah, I mentioned the stick he was getting, but yeah, that's where we're at with it at this moment in time. So as I said, it's not going to be a long live stream, but I just wanted to come on here and discuss these talking points because I think, as I said, it's in the moment now. It's fresh. It's almost like a match reaction. I don't really do these sort of shows usually, but I don't know where are you guys all at? And if a lot of you won't be watching live naturally because obviously we're doing this at what? 2 p.m. in the daytime, and obviously majority are working or, as I said, in a maths class. So if you are watching now, let us know in the comments, or if you are watching after the fact, let us know in the comments what you think about sort of Daniel Farke's press conference, because I don't know, I'm getting concerned, I really am. And also, if you've got to this point in the video, if you could drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff would massively help the channel and obviously boost it in the algorithms. Let other people that want to have a bit of a moan about Daniel Farke able to do it. So yeah, thanks all for watching as always, everybody, and I will see you either this evening or potentially tomorrow, probably tomorrow now, probably come out tomorrow morning for the preview for the Leeds United versus Man City game, which I'm guessing we're all absolutely buzzing for. Fantastic, what a game. How much we're looking forward to playing against Man City and probably getting beat 5-0. Whoopee. Anyway, let's wrap it up there. Thanks all for watching, as I said. And I will see you all later.